Good afternoon. Thank you for watching our live update for Thursday, April 8th. Today, I have a few announcements for you, and then Jason Pace from Dining has an update on some changes and updates from Dining, and then Lynn McClintock has our Pastoral Care segment today. We hope that you enjoyed watching the Vibrancy Project narrated tour that debuted at last Thursday's live update and has aired throughout the week on TV 971. We will certainly update that and continue to share more images and share more information with you throughout the next year as we get closer to the project. We'll continue to share information about Vibrancy as this project progresses, and we plan to answer. We've been gathering frequently asked questions. We have a number of them that we are going to begin to share with you and answer those questions at the upcoming live updates. I hope to start that next week. We'll get a couple of questions each week, and as we give you an update, we'll talk through those things and just kind of help everyone understand both the big picture and more of the details as we get into this. In terms of the COVID situation, I am very pleased to say that we continue to have no cases of COVID-19 here at Westminster Canterbury Richmond. We have no cases in our residents, and we have no cases in our employees. We have had a number of employees in the last week or 10 days who've either been exposed or have had some symptoms, but so far, everybody who's been in that group from staff have been negative. So that's really good. We continue to test a lot of people, a lot of staff. We have had our positivity rate for the Richmond area has ticked back up above the 5.0 level, which means we have to test our staff each week. And so we'll continue to do that until that positivity rate falls below 5, which allows us to reduce our testing to once a month. But for now, it is a weekly staff test. Later this week, I think it's Saturday, we'll mark 1 month here on campus with no positive cases. So I want to thank all of you for continuing to follow all the recommendations from the CDC and Virginia Department of Health and the guidelines, and ask you to continue to please wear your mask in public and maintain your social distance in public spaces. It's working, so let's keep with it until we don't need to anymore, and I don't think that's too far off. Because of the good news, today we are excited to announce with you some of our next steps as we further reopen the campus and relax a few of the guidelines. So I'll get to that in a minute. While we want to ask you to continue to practice, and we're going to expect of you that you take personal responsibility to make choices that keep you and your family safe and you and your neighbors safe and healthy. It's a personal decision in terms of a lot of these loosening of the restrictions. If you're not comfortable with these loosening of the restrictions, the obligation is on you to just stay out of, keep your contacts socially distanced, and you'll be safe. Wear your mask, and you'll be safe. We've demonstrated that that works. So. Again, it's just a personal decision. We know that some of you are eager for these guidelines to loosen, and we understand that. We're eager for that as well, both here at work and in our personal lives. But we have to continue to be careful. Others here and others in our personal lives are not yet comfortable with the idea of close personal interaction, and that's perfectly healthy and normal. This virus is dangerous. We know that. We've seen that. So if you're not comfortable yet with close interaction, you're completely free to keep your distance from others. Absolutely. Others of you may choose to begin holding some gatherings with your fellow residents here on campus in your apartments, and that's going to be okay. And we're also going to relax some of the other rules which will allow that. And if you're comfortable with it, as long as you follow the guidelines, that'll be fine. So effective tomorrow, Friday, April 9th, we are making some changes to our guidelines. First, let me talk about visitation. Independent living visitation in residence apartments will be determined by the resident and needs to be based on the size of your apartment and your ability to maintain your social distance. So we are no longer limiting independent living visitation in apartments to 2 people. If your apartment is big enough to hold more than 2 people, you're welcome to have more than 2 people in your apartment. If your visitors to campus and visitors into your apartment have not been vaccinated, we want you to we're strongly suggesting that you consider keeping your social distance practices in place and wear a mask. This is for both you and your neighbors because it is still possible to get COVID, but also it's possible to get it and not know it and spread it to others. So it's good practice to continue to social distance and wear a mask if you have visitors. If you have family in from out of town or even from here in town and they're going to spend some time in your apartment with you and they've not been vaccinated, just be cognizant of this 15-minute exposure. If you can keep your distance most of the time, you're much safer than if you're up close for long periods of time. But to just reiterate, we are not going to limit the numbers of visitors in your apartment. If your apartment can handle 4 people or 6 people, it's okay with us, as long as you're careful. All visitors, this remains the same. All visitors must be screened at the Avalon entrance and receive one of the day bracelets, a colored bracelet that shows us that they've been through this screening. And then when your visitors come to your area, we're going to ask that they sign in at the reception desk, either at the tower or at the courtyard, before they visit you in your apartment. Visitors are not going to be allowed at this point in public spaces, in the lounges, dining areas on campus. It's important that we continue to limit that because every week we hear residents that are just not yet comfortable with having guests in public areas. And so we want to respect that. And we'll allow it in your apartments, but not in the public spaces. And certainly outside visitation is absolutely fine, but in the buildings, not in the common areas. Your guests should continue, once they get to they should come to the tower or center desks and register, and then go straight to your apartment and have their visitation, and that's great. Overnight visitors, pre-registration with resident services and a negative COVID test are not going to be required any longer. So starting tomorrow, this weekend, overnight visitors do not need to be pre-registered and they don't need to show us that they've been tested. Overnight visitation should be determined by the residents, by you, the same way you do your daily visitors, and based on your level of comfort, their vaccination status, then determine your social distancing and whether or not you wear a mask. But that's up to you in the privacy of your own apartment. Visitors, all visitors need to be screened at the Avalon entrance before entering the campus and then sign in at the reception desks. It is really important to us that your overnight visitors register with the front desks, because in the case of an emergency, we need to know they're here. And so our emergency procedures and policies require us to have a record of who's staying on campus overnight. So we just ask that you let the desks know so we can have that logged in case there's an emergency. If, as a resident, you're going to hire an outside contractor to come in and pick something up or deliver something or do any services for you in your apartment, we'd like you to call security at extension 111 to register your contractor, and then this information will get shared at the gatehouse so that we can direct your contractors to the Avalon entrance. Very similar to the way it was pre-pandemic, pre-COVID. So we're going back to that model where we get you registered at the gatehouse. Offices, administrative offices in the foundation, administration, resident services, business office, all those offices are now going to be open to residents, but we would appreciate you calling ahead and making an appointment so that we don't get too many people in those. A lot of these offices are pretty small, at least in the entry spaces. And so if you call ahead and make an appointment to come see us, we're happy to visit with you and talk to you about whatever it is you need for all those sorts of business office functions. Next thing I want to talk about is the capacities of our common spaces, lounges, program areas, gathering spaces. All of those capacities, which are posted in those rooms, are all being adjusted. We're going to allow more people in all of our common areas. So we're going to ask you to please abide by the signage in whatever area it is that you're using. And we want you to reserve spaces. So if please reserve spaces through courtesy services. They can advise you as to what the room capacities are for the different spaces and which spaces would be most appropriate for whatever your purpose is, all right? So we are adjusting our process like this so that housekeeping can come in behind and sanitize and get these rooms cleaned and reset. So we want to encourage you to use spaces that are appropriate for the group that you're going to be with and minimize the amount of both setup and cleaning that's required. Reminder, public areas are only open to residents at this time and no visitors in those public spaces. If you're interested in reserving a lounge or a public space to play bridge or mahjong or any of those other kind of activities, you're welcome to do so starting tomorrow. Please reserve a space by calling courtesy services or going to one of the desks, and they'll get the reservation in our EMS system, our management system, so that we can get housekeeping in there behind you. So thank you for that. We're excited about that. I know lots of you have been waiting to be able to get together in public and play bridge or play mahjong or whatever. So a couple other rooms. The courtyard billiards room capacity is increasing from 4 players to 7 players. So that's a nice enhancement. And then the marketplace will be limited, marketplace billiards will be limited to 4 players. The Sarah Bell November Theater, the McGew Millheiser Art Studio, the wellness teams are all adjusting their programming this next week to allow for additional classes and events based on these new capacities that we're gonna that they're gonna deploy as well. So that's exciting. We can get more people into all these classes. Please watch Touchdown and next week's broadcast live update will provide more information. But we're going to continue with as we add more programming. You'll learn about it at the live updates and on Touchdown. Lynn McClintock, who will be out in a few minutes, she'll be sharing updates as it relates to pastoral care programming and how they're going to be adjusting and increasing their capacities. A couple other things before I'm done. The bank, the BB&T Bank downstairs, reopened yesterday on Wednesday, April 7th, and they'll be open on Wednesdays each week from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Peggy from the bank will be on site. Initially, we'd understood that they were going to require appointments, but after yesterday, they informed us appointments are not necessary for small transactions like deposits, withdrawals, that sort of thing. All we ask is that you follow the social distancing guidelines when in the bank and when lining up in the hall if there's too many people in there. I think the capacity is 3 residents in the bank at a time. So if there's more than that, just keep your distance. That's all we ask. Thank you for watching today. We will be back next Thursday for our next update. Jason Pace is up next from dining, and he has some of the updates and some of the changes coming to dining, so look forward to that. And I will see you next Thursday.
Thanks, John. Afternoon, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Well, since we've reopened, we've really inundated you all with a lot of information. And over the last couple of weeks, as we've settled into our new reality, a few things have become clear where I can hopefully add some clarification for you all. Let's start off with delivery. Our delivery operation is available every day, Monday through Sunday. How do you place a delivery order? You'll do so by calling extension 6259. When do I call? Yes, this is the big one. You call between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Sunday. Again, for delivery, call between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Sunday for dinner delivery. 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sunday for midday Sunday dinner delivery. What if you call after 5 p.m.? After 5 o'clock, that order will become a carry-out order, which you'd have to come down to the marketplace in person and pick up from the old ice cream area. What do you get in a delivered meal? The nightly feature comes with your soup, your listed salad, your entree, your listed sides, beverage and dessert. Or you can get the entree salad option, or you can substitute for the baked chicken. You get all of that for $10 with delivery. Now, carryout. Carryout's available Monday through Saturday, available at lunch and dinner out of the marketplace. You'll call extension 6259. When do you call for carryout? For lunch, you'll call between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m., Monday through Saturday, and 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Saturday. When will your order be ready for carryout? Generally 15 to 20 minutes. That's because we're cooking the meal to order for you right then and there. But your phone attendant will give you an approximation as well. What do you get with your carryout meal? This is the big one. With your carryout meal, you get the nightly feature, which comes with a soup or salad. Again, soup or salad. Your salad choices are a Caesar salad or the house salad. Also comes with the entree, 2 sides, and dessert for $9. You can also order entree salads, burgers, sandwiches, soup, hot dogs, any of those items that are available on our dinner a la carte menu through the carryout option. In summary, delivery is really ideal for those of you who have enjoyed the full meal that we've been delivering during COVID lockdown. You'll get the entire meal, drink, dessert, everything you can think of for $10. Carryout is perfect for those of you who think the full meal has been a little too much, or you're looking to enjoy some of those a la carte options like burgers, hot dogs, sandwiches. I hope that's helped. On to the next one, reservations. This will get really important in just a moment as well. Dine-in reservations are required for all meals. You'll do so by calling extension 6030, leaving your name, your phone number, and a reservation request. You don't need to worry about leaving us the names of the guests who are dining with you any longer. Reservations are made on a rolling 7-day calendar. What the heck does that mean, Jason? Literally gotten that question multiple times. That means, as an example, if you were to call today, Thursday the 8th, you can make a reservation for any meal period from now through next Thursday, April 15th. So, why are reservations so important? Starting Sunday, for those of you who read your tales, starting Sunday, we'll be introducing parties of 4 again in the marketplace. We're still going to be required to limit capacity, though, to 50% of our pre-COVID seating capacity. So there only will be specific tables, 8 to be exact, that will be available for parties of 3 or 4. We also need to maintain proper spacing as well. That means those tables will be only available for parties of 3 or 4 unless our reservation levels permit otherwise. So you may see a certain table that you really love, but if that's one of our tables that we've spaced out specifically for parties of 3 or 4, I apologize ahead of time, and I'll say this again, I apologize in person. That table is only meant for 3 or 4. Really appreciate you all understanding that. And last but not least, the whole reason you're here today, yes, Kathleen's in the Canterbury room. When will you get back over there, Jason? Well, we've got some good news, but dinner service will resume in Kathleen's, again, Kathleen's, on Monday, May 10th. Dinner service only in Kathleen's, limited seating capacity beginning May 10th. Do not pick up your phones and start calling for reservations. That same 7-day rolling calendar will still apply for reservations over there. You will get more details starting in the tails on April the 22nd. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon. Next up, Lynn McClintock.
Thank you, Jason. That's a lot of great news. I'm going to start my update today with scripture, and it's Psalm 122, verse 1. I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. This is a great day today because this morning was the first time that we have held an in-person worship service since March 15th of last year. Bob Hetherington was the preacher on March 15th last year, and he was our preacher today as well. And with Bob in the pulpit and Annette Sparks at the piano, that would have been joy enough, but the fact that we had actual people in the sanctuary for the first time marked a wonderful turning point for us. Many of us were a little teary-eyed when we lifted our voices in song. We heard each other's voices read the psalm together, and we said the Lord's Prayer together. It was really a beautiful service. So mark your calendars for Thursday mornings at 10:30 to come to worship. Please come early if you can to be sure that you can get situated before the service begins. Remember also that our Thursday service will continue to be televised on TV 970 if you prefer to stay in your apartment. We are also excited to invite our area clergy back to preach. I know many of you have missed your clergy folks over this last year. If they have members here at Westminster Canterbury, we are inviting them to remain in the pulpit after the service to spend time with their members who live and work here. For instance, next week, Reverend Gary Jones, rector of St. Stephen's Episcopal Church, will be preaching, and we do expect a large congregation that day, and we have overflow seating available. But after the service, St. Stephen's members will be invited to stay afterwards and to spend time with Reverend Jones in the sanctuary. Air hugs are allowed. So, with worship in person and our area clergy now able to preach again, we are really excited about getting back into a rhythm of worship that is so central to this community. Area clergy are allowed to visit one resident or resident couple in their apartment per visit to campus. At this moment in our reopening timeline, they will not be allowed to go room to visit several parishioners on the same visit, nor can they have a gathering in a common space. So this is for your safety, and we hope that you understand. We're now able to invite back our pastoral care volunteers and to offer volunteer opportunities for new folks who've either moved in the last year or who would like to become involved. So stay tuned as we gear back up. There will be plenty to do. Other pastoral care programs are now in person with safe distancing. The Pastoral Care team will be spacing the chairs now 3 feet apart instead of 6 feet. This will be good news for residents who participate in our small groups. It will be much easier to hear and be heard. This also means that we can start more small groups, so stay tuned for some upcoming offers. One to mention now is that we will be starting a 4th round of small group discussions on race and racial reconciliation. Led by residents, the race groups have been very thought-provoking and open-spirited, where anyone who comes can explore the challenges of race and racism in the United States, including right here at home. So if you are interested in signing up for an upcoming group, which will start in a couple weeks, please call Vanessa Perry at extension 1502. Another thing for you to know about is that we still will not be holding in-person memorial services for outside guests. We're just not ready for that quite yet. Graveside interments in the beautiful Emmaus Garden are being scheduled with a maximum of 16 folks attending, and that includes the clergy person. It has been a very difficult year as we've lost some friends, and we haven't been able to be together to grieve that loss together without having a communal celebration of life. It's really an odd feeling to know that perhaps someone is no longer with us. So to help, Pastoral Care has created 2 notebooks, one in the tower lobby and one in the business center at the center lobby, with the obituaries of the residents who have passed away in 2020 and up until now. We keep this updated. Also included are the obituaries of any staff who have passed away at this time if they are currently employed at the time of their death, and any current trustee deaths as well. We offer this to you as a way to remember and give thanks for the amazing people that have been part of the Westminster Canterbury family. The last program I'll mention today is our Live Music in the Sanctuary series. Next Tuesday at 11 a.m., Annette Sparks will be playing some favorite show tunes for us to tap our feet to. Seating is limited, so if you would like to come next Tuesday at 11 to hear Annette, please call Chaplain David Curtis at extension 5179 to reserve your seat today. I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. Let us pray. O God, our Creator, your kindness has brought us the gift of a new day. Help us to let go of yesterday, for it is no longer ours to hold. Help us not to covet tomorrow, for our expectations tend to become singular and rigid. Help us to accept the uniqueness and beauty of this day. It's right here, right now, your gift to us. Thank you, Lord. Amen. So go in peace and stay positive, continue to test negative, and we'll see you next Thursday at 3 p.m. for our next update.